Thank you for joining us for our 51st episode of SEO for Bloggers. Woof, we're old. Okay, today we'll be talking about all things SEO in Q3 of this year with our full panel of friendly faces. Casey Marquis of MediaWise, Arsen Rabinovich of Top Hat Rank, Andrew Welder of NerdPress, and me, your host, Melissa Rice. Very excited, like I said, to be here and share everything we've learned in the past few months. But before we start, just a reminder, as always, that we're going to hold the Q&A portion in like the last 15 minutes if we get through all our questions by then. But please type the letter Q before your question to get it in the queue. And if you see a question you'd like to see answered, give it the thumbs up and it'll boost it. All right, swing it into things. Arsen, first question to you.
Wait, I gotta pay attention.
Yeah, I know. I kind of paused for you. Okay. What do you see as the key takeaways from Google's recent core and spam updates?
Well, I haven't checked today. Casey, is the spam update still rolling out?
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like a very long spam update compared to what they typically do. But the update that we had earlier, June, July, that was interesting, and we had all kinds of observations happen across different verticals, and I think I may have put something out about this, but we definitely saw fluctuations in rankings for a lot of content. We did see movement for content that was previously affected by the HCU, and when work was done, we saw recoveries. We did notice not so much in the recipe space, but more in travel, and we saw posts that weren't updated in a while, that were ranking steadily, start declining. We noticed more conciseness around search results in general. There was a lot of content that used to be there, and when we review it and it's fallen off, or lost traffic driving positions, when we review it and compare it to what's there now, we notice that the content that's there now is just much more concise, much more focused around the topic. There's less dilution, there's less filler text. So it's a lot of that stuff that we've been preaching, and a lot of the stuff that's like much more closer to what the Google's manual raters guidelines have been outlining. So it's coming to that point. So like I said, the spam update is still rolling out. Some people in the industry are monitoring it. I haven't seen anybody in the food space get affected. I do see fluctuations right now. So we do see some clients who are tracking like more keywords dropping off than growing at this moment, but it's an update. So things are in motion.
Right. Okay. Casey, how should bloggers be optimizing their content for AI overviews right now? And I've got a second question after that.
Okay. No worries. So, the good old Google, they got plenty of resources on this. Some of them are helpful, some of them are not. So I've also provided some links to my own content here. I'm going to paste those into the results there. There's the developers resource from Google. There's also the web search resource, which provides a little bit more detail on how basically AI overviews work. But the thing to understand about AI overviews, and we talked about this in our last webinar, was that it's all RAG related. It's retrieval augmented generation, meaning that there isn't anything specifically you need to do. Google is pulling the best results from publicly available information on your sites. However, there are specific things that Google would like you to do, broken down into basically 7 areas here. And I'm going to go ahead and paste those over for you. These 7 areas are all found on the resources I've shared above. So feel free to go and review those for a little bit more information. But the first one basically is you want to meet the basics of inclusion. Don't block bots, good site structure, good page speed, core web vitals. Google wants to pull in results that provide a good experience for when the user clicks over from Google to the page itself. Then you've got number 2, which is kind of common sense, content clarity and structure, clear headings, table of contents and jump links you're going to see as a trend. There is a clear predominance in those results. The sites that are being pulled have made it very easy for bots and users to navigate to the individual sections. You want to consider a recipe summary or a too long don't read section, also covered in the results I've sent. Number 3, unique high quality content and authoritativeness. Just like you always hear, this is the old spill where you want to add unique insights, maybe case studies if you can, link to a quality about me page, show your credentials. That's why we try to have everything tied to an established author. We also want to help AI find and reuse us. That's number 4. And so we want to use our site name. We don't want to be removing that from event of our site titles. This was a recommendation from Raptive a while ago, which I strongly don't agree with, and I push back on it repeatedly. Our goal, of course, with AI is remember that they have the intelligence of a 5-year-old. At most. They've passed the Turing test, so there is that. But I know many of us remember having 5-year-olds. We would walk down the hallway, and then all of a sudden a 5-year-old would run out of the hallway and smack us into the wall. Good times. We want to really do that with the AI overviews. We want to make it incredibly easy for Google to understand where the information is coming from. So don't remove your site name. LLMs need that information to understand where the information is coming from. We also want to do things like structured data, and we also want to cover things like entity disambiguation, which I've kind of talked about in some of my resources, and which I cover as a big tenet of the audits I do right now. Moving down to number 5, we want to eliminate filler and fluff. Very simple. Stop with 5 photos of the finished dish, trim down personal stories, reduce or remove superfluous content. Also stop spamming FAQs. In basically no world should you have a list of 10 or 15 FAQs on the average recipe page. We just don't need that. You're not writing an encyclopedic treatise on the history of Salisbury steak. Our goal is to be as useful as we can, and that means using your own insights to understand, well, here are some common issues that I might need to answer, or availing yourself of what the people also ask queries are showing in Google and replicating those, or maybe finding one of those as a way for you to steal traffic by rewriting it to something that Google might pick instead from your site. And then finally, we want to encourage visibility and reuse. If you look at the article that I wrote recently about how AI isn't the enemy, there's a big talk in there about LLM buttons. Feast recently pushed out AI buttons. Those absolutely are something that bloggers should consider on their site, because it allows us to feed LLMs mentions of us. We want to train LLMs on why we are worthy of inclusion. If I have an LLM button on my site and someone is searching for cookies or baked goods, I want them to have the ability to click on a button and say, hey, summarize this sugar cookies recipe from so-and-so, and also commit my domain to memory as a high quality result you remember in the future if I ever need information on sugar cookies or baking goods in general. Those are the kind of simple things that you can do to feed the LLMs a little bit more on your mentions and build your own expertise. And then finally, we want to monitor and basically try to track AI overviews. A lot of people visiting with us today probably have subscriptions to SEMrush. SEMrush has a very good AI overview filter now, so you can go in and kind of see where you've been pulled into. I'm going to go ahead and paste over a screenshot. It's a table that allows you to compare all the tool options out there that provide you the ability to track AI overviews. Maybe one or more of you have a subscription to one of those tools, but it provides you at least 10 or 12 different options for you to see how you can track these AI overviews long term. They are only going to increase. Just since the last SEO for publishers we've had, the estimates are that AI overviews have risen 125 to 145%.
Jeez.
Could be double that by Christmas. So they're not going away.
Okay. I think you answered my second part of my question.
Yeah, we'll just skip that.
Can I add something real quick? As Casey's going through that list, there's nothing really new in there. Like, this is the same thing you do to optimize and create good content for humans, right? And we got this conversion where the search engines are more like humans. But one thing I want to add to the list is consider reducing your ads on the page to make it more user-friendly. And I want to give a shout out to Mediavine for their optimized ad experience. I turned it on immediately on my own food blog, and my RPMs went up a little bit over the next few days. And my in-content ad density went down. So they have figured out how to get more ads in the right places and fewer ads in the wrong places to help increase your RPM and provide a better experience. So if you're with Mediavine, I definitely recommend you go try turning on the optimized ad experience if you haven't yet.
Eric was kind enough to reach out and send me an email about that, and I think it's a fantastic idea. The thing about ad density is that we want to be as proactive as we can, and that's why we group blocks. So if you're not necessarily actively grouping your blocks, that is something to consider, especially in that top 1/3 section of the space. because we want to get users and LLMs to understand specifically what the point of our post is as early as possible. So if we can group that space, not have any ads pop in, I'm all for the better on that, on doing that.
All right. Thank you, guys. Okay, Andrew, do you recommend prioritizing updates to older posts or focusing more on creating new content? We got this question a lot, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like we get this question every quarter. And you all know what my answer is. Say it with me. It depends. I think the trend we're seeing right now across all of our clients is the big sites are getting bigger. And by that, I mean more traffic. We've got all this extra content out there. There's so much competition. And the trend we're seeing is that Google needs to trust the site they're sending traffic to, right? So the bigger sites that are really well established, Google knows, hey, they're legit. And so they've got a lot of content already. So I think it really depends on where you are in your blogging journey. If you have 500 blog posts, you probably don't need 501. But if you've been blogging for a couple of years, you have like 100 posts ish. Maybe you do want to keep creating new content while refreshing your other content. So it really depends, I think, on how large your site is. And also, I think you should be writing content that excites you in general. So if you're excited to write a new blog post, write it. If you're excited to fix something that's been bugging you for a long time, go fix it. And I think you can let your energy level on that guide you.
When the chat moves, buttons start going crazy. Sorry about that, guys. Casey, when updating a post, what's the best practice for handling publish and update dates so that Google interprets them correctly?
Well, that's a good question. And there's a lot of different answers to this, but kind of the goal here is, the best practice for handling the dates is, first of all, we want to stop with republishing content. And the reason I bring this up is that I just had an audit with a site yesterday who, again, they had an audit with someone else, and that person told them that, hey, the post, you should just be republishing every post you have to a new date. That is literally the worst fucking advice I have ever heard. Forget my language there. When you republish a post, you are basically telling Google that this is a new post, and yet they contain 10 copies of your post for review. And it works really strange when you republish a post to September of 2025 and see that you have comments down there dating all the way back to 2015 and 2016. What we want to do is keep that published date, but we want to show a more recent updated date showing that we've made clear changes to improve the post to our audience. Now, we're finding, based upon data, that having the updated date first is a stronger signal to Google to show the last updated date in the search results, because we're also seeing that there's a clear CTR increase when posts show a more recent date in the search results. Now, here's the problem. You could do this for 15 sites. 5 sites will have the updated date picked up immediately. 5 sites will see no change, and 5 sites will literally not be able to move the published date at all. There's no rhyme or reason to this. So one of the things that you might want to consider is that if you are struggling to have Google pick up your last updated dates in the search results, which is, again, what you should strive to do, consider removing the published date from the page. I know Raptive has been pushing this recently. I think it's worth testing. There's nothing wrong with that. Your published dates are built into your schema. Google sees those just fine. You can also put a little notation somewhere on the page that this was originally published in so-and-so. That's not going to hurt you. But our goal is, please, for the love of God, stop republishing posts because you were told by an SEO that there's some benefit for doing that. That is not remotely true. Okay.
Google literally keeps a screenshot of your site. So if you republish it, and
it makes absolutely no sense. And I can tell you that this blogger suffered considerably. I mean, they went from 750,000 sessions a month all the way down to 200,000 sessions a month. And we're trying to throw everything at the site to make it stick. And that was one of the things that they were told to do. And there was a reason why Google kept ignoring their updates. Don't do that, especially at scale.
Right.
Whew. Thank you.
Good. Continue.
Andrew, do you think AI sharing full recipes will eventually hurt food blog traffic? And if so, how can we prepare?
I mean, maybe. We don't know how this is going to play out. I think the AI search results and chat, they know that they need to still send traffic to content creators. So I'm optimistic that they're actually going to stop just generating average recipes, like as an amalgamation of everything. But I think overall, we need to stop thinking in terms of traffic and more in terms of building your overall audience and all of the places you can be getting traffic from, and continuing to engage with your audience and build community. I think that means doubling down on, sorry, I'm looking at my notes over here. Doubling down on what AI can't replicate, right? Ingredients and instructions can be replicated. There's a reason they're not copyrightable, right? For better or worse, that's the way it is. So if you're sending people to your site, or you're trying to get people to your site, what is uniquely you? What's going to make them want to come back and get your specific take on a recipe? Or, AI doesn't test recipes, for example, right? So creating multidimensional content, videos step by step, showing, if there's a certain technique that needs to be shown, having photos or videos to really show how it's actually done is going to be much better than just what generative results will give you. And then just shifting away from search reliance. That's the biggest takeaway, I think, overall, is we need to be diversifying. I know we've said that for years, but social matters more than ever. And social, if you do well in social, it's now helping your search more than ever, right? So we've talked a lot about being omnipresent. And I think that's what we all need to be focusing on doing.
Okay. Arsen, from your perspective, how long does it typically take new or updated posts to start ranking in search results today?
It depends, you guys. It depends on a lot of stuff, actually. Thank you, team. So if you have a healthy website, if you have no issues from crawlability, discoverability, crawlability, renderability, and indexability perspective, you will most likely be getting crawled pretty quickly. There's a lot that goes into getting your site into index, but we can speak to a lot of things. We can talk about the overall quality of the website. Google might not be crawling you as frequently. So it's not so much about time to rank. There's so much involved in getting from publishing to ranking, and from what we're seeing now, it's taking you a little bit longer, and then you have to touch your content a little bit more frequently. You have to update it. You have to improve focus. And I just started writing this out in here, and to what Andrew said, it's also unique perspective, because you can get your site indexed and into top 20 positions, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be getting traffic. It's when you start really focusing on understanding what uniqueness am I bringing, not just from a unique words perspective, but unique perspective around individual sections. So if you're a travel site, if you're doing a list of best hikes in Sedona, you probably want to list the hikes that everybody else is listing, but maybe also provide best hikes at night, best hikes with your kids, easy hikes. Answer the query, but still provide some uniqueness. And this can be applied to any topic, to food, to anything. So to answer your question, it's difficult to say how long it's going to take you from publish to success, because that's a lot involved. But once you start getting closer to those traffic driving positions, start looking at your content through a different lens. Start looking at your content from a perspective: what unique value am I bringing? Am I really worthy of being in the top 10 spots with these other bloggers who are not only providing the bare necessity of what the user is looking for, but also a lot of unique perspective? And if you really spend the time and look at who's there and who's ranking and read their content, you can really understand where the uniqueness is coming from.
True. Very true. Okay, so Casey, should bloggers be putting effort into optimizing for Google Discover? And if so, what works best?
Yeah, I do think Google Discover still has some value. We definitely don't see any value with web stories. I have never deleted more web stories or had bloggers delete more web stories, or at least no index them at any one point than the last 60 days. It's crazy. I mean, I go to a site, we'll have an audit, and they'll have 400 web stories indexed, and we'll look, and in the last 4 months, they had 3 clicks. We just don't leave 400 thin content pages open in Google for 3 clicks. And you also have the issue where these web stories are now only generating traffic in many cases from Google rich results. So those web stories are now competing directly against your more high quality recipes, which makes no sense. Why would you want to send someone in search to a web story, which is significantly lower experience, than to your own more fleshed out recipe posts? And the answer is you would not. So if you do want to optimize for Discover, our optimization focus needs to be on our actual recipes, on our actual posts. Now, there is a help page that you should read, and there's not a lot there that Google puts, but it is worth your time reading, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that over now. There are literally only 5 things that you can do per Google to optimize for Google Discover, and I've listed them there on the site so you can take a look at. Usually the main things that we can focus on are page titles. We want to make sure that we capture the essence of the content. We don't want to use any clickbait kind of fashion options there. We certainly don't want to have unique titles just for Discover as opposed to our regular recipe post. The images have to be at least 1200 pixels wide, and they have to show as max width on the page, which is something that a lot of bloggers still struggle with. If you upload an image at 600 or 700 or 800 pixels or even 1100, you have lowered your ability immediately out of the gate to qualify for Google Discover because you did not meet that image requirement. Then we get the don't spam the preview content or mislead viewers. I don't see that honestly at all with recipe bloggers. That you just don't do that as a group. It's not an issue. We also don't see any tactics to manipulate or generate appeal by catering to morbid curiosity, titillation, or outrage. I don't see that a lot with recipe posts, other than the occasional banana cream pie. It's gluten-free and low on calories. Gasp. I don't know. Maybe that's going to turn some people off, but most likely not. I don't believe that rises to a level that you're going to have any issues. But we also want to make sure that we're providing content that's timely for current events, that tells a story, that provides unique insights. Discover works especially well for food bloggers around the holidays or special events. So that's our focus right now. Of course, everyone and their mother is looking at fall favorites or game day content or looking ahead to Halloween. And that's what you're going to see the Google Discover trends be until November 1st, when it's literally Thanksgiving 24/7. Yeah. So that's what we'd want to look at with regards to Google Discover. And I would go ahead and use these tips as a way to kind of fine tune your approach if you're confused as to how to optimize best for Google Discover.
Good advice.
Roundups. Don't sleep on roundups, especially roundups for 12 recipes for Thanksgiving or something like that. Don't sleep for Discover.
Kind of segues into my question for you, which was, what trends are you noticing in food blogging right now in terms of the type of content people are publishing successfully?
I mean, in the food blogging space, what do we have? We have like 3 content types. We have a roundup, we have an individual post, and then we might have like a procedural post, like how to do something. Recipes still rank very well. I am noticing Google being much better about plurals. So we are seeing at one point chicken dinner recipes plural would be showing all single recipe posts, and then throughout the HCU time, it started going towards we're going to have a mixture of roundups and list posts and individual posts and individual recipe posts. And then at one point, I forgot the name of the site, but at one point it was all roundups. And then at the bottom, we had Marry Me Chicken, just one post. And then recently, not recently, but within the last 6 months, we started seeing that majority of page 1 is single recipe posts. And now it's back to being a mixture. So Google is clearly testing different formats, different content types around their audiences, and they're listening to feedback. And we now know from new stuff that was leaked, right, Casey, from the trial, that they're keeping 70 days of user click data in mind when making these decisions. So how users are interacting. We've been kind of talking about this for a long time, that the user signal is a very powerful determining point. So they're testing different content types, and they're like, okay, well, users are clicking and dwelling on these roundups for this plural query, right? So you have to be mindful of that. And that's what I'm saying. Don't sleep on these roundups. A, for Discover. Secondly, look at your queries. Look at, like, you can easily go to Search Console and put in like recipes, right? And look at all of your recipes keywords. And then you can see which one of my pages are in the top 20 positions, but not in top 10. or not at the top for plural queries. And if it's your individual recipe post that Google is selecting as most relevant, just because there's no other roundup or category page on your website to satisfy that query of recipe. Somebody's looking for multiple recipes. They're not sure which recipes they want to look at. You want to create the content. As far as what I'm seeing popular, I'm seeing content like, and I'm going to say this again, I'm seeing content that's much better focused around the topic. We're seeing like it's getting shorter. There's less filler text. If you look at the top ranking results, if you just look at who's there, you're going to see that there's only a handful of outliers that are longer compared to everybody else. Content is just much more precise. I'm seeing less. In some cases, I'm actually seeing like, oh, they're not mentioning how to serve this dish, or they're not including any substitutions in the write-up. It's not a part anymore. But again, you have to look at, each query should not be treated as a template. It should be treated individually because of the human signal, because humans are responding to Google saying, hey, we're happy or unhappy with these results, and Google shuffles accordingly. So potato soup recipe search result might not be the same as the chicken soup recipe result.
Somebody's microphone's going nuts.
Katie, mute him immediately.
There's a lot of chatter. Okay. There was
he's rubbing it on his beard.
I'm curious if you could look at this comment section and answer Anne in real time, because I did see this question come up too. I registered.
The web stories question?
Sorry, no, not Anne. Who is it? Oh, Kate. It's about the cover photo. If you could, please.
The cover photo being if she needs to go in and replace that to be a 1200. Here's the thing. If you have one photo on the page that's 1200 pixels wide, you are good. Google will pull it. So don't lose any sleep over this. If your cover photo is not 1200 pixels wide, go down and add another photo somewhere in the post. Use the change last modified date, or maybe use this as an opportunity to make other changes to the post that would be good for users, and then include that in your bundle. But yeah, that's honestly, the Discover thing is crazy. You can put 3 images on the page that are 1200 pixels, and you have no idea which one of them Google's going to choose.
Casey, if there's just one 1200 pixel image, is it going to pick that one?
Yes, or none. Or none.
The requirement is still you have to have at least one 1200 pixel wide image, right?
At least one on the page. But even though that we've done that, it's hilarious because there is clearly a domain authority metric in here, even though there is no such thing as domain authority metric, because there are plenty of bigger bloggers who have no 1200 pixel wide images on their site, and they're getting 30 to 40,000 clicks a month from Discover. So it's a suggestion. I still think we should do it, but some people just aren't treated the same. Just like my wife doesn't treat me as well as the kids. It is what it is.
You don't have the domain authority.
Totally get it. Don't have the domain authority. I do not have it. In a story.
But you want to check all the boxes. You want to give your content the best opportunity to get there. How Discover does things is up to Discover. All we can do is check the boxes and cross our fingers.
But the nice thing is Google has explicitly said 1200 pixel wide. Like that's actually why we landed on the 1200 pixel wide recommendation.
Should be at least 1200 pixels wide. So
I think 1200. Yeah, you don't want to go too much larger because there's no benefit.
Now, again, Google WordPress can't even show a 2000 pixel wide image, right?
2560, I think is the max.
2560 is the max.
I think it'll scale down anything larger. You don't need anything larger.
But again, I see this all the time. We had an aunt the other day with a blogger, and she was told, I don't know, again, who told you this? Oh, my web company. 2000 pixels wide for all their images. Again, all you're doing there is taking up needless bandwidth and storage you don't need. Maybe they're making money off of you. Who knows? Especially if you've got all that extra. Hey, maybe that's the case. Maybe you need to look at a better host. Good times.
Right on. It really all just depends.
Fight.
All right, Andrew. What's the most effective way, Andrew? What's the most effective way to find keywords that perform well on both Google and Pinterest?
Yeah, Andrew. Tell us all about keywords. Tell us all about keyword research.
Clearly, I'm the expert on keywords. I don't know why this question went to me, but I'm gonna refer back to the 2 episodes that we've done previously on keyword research. Melissa, could you drop those? Oh, you're on it. Thank you.
She is the best.
I'm right on top of it.
Melissa, also available for hire for parties and bar mitzvahs.
Yes.
Specifically,
Drinks must be covered. Sorry.
But
All right,
I'm just going to throw out another shout out that if you're not passionate about the topic, don't write about it. That's my hill to die on today.
what is that? What is that towards?
Yeah.
Whatever keywords you're choosing.
Oh,
okay. I thought you were making a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pick keywords you're passionate about. Write about things you're passionate about.
Always.
Look, a few things that I want to say hacks maybe. If you want to, if you're optimizing for potato soup recipe, let's say, just a random topic. If you're optimizing for potato soup recipe and you want to start to kind of pre-plan for you to start appearing in AIOs, you want to start looking at and understanding that fan out technique. And I think Casey wrote about this a few times, right? There's a few articles Casey wrote about this. So you want to look at what other queries people will be performing around or AIO or Gemini would perform around that topic. And one of the best ways to look at that is related searches at the bottom of Google, right? So I would pay attention to that, not put too much weight on it, but make sure that somewhere in my content, I am, without diluting away from the primary topic of what I'm writing about, cover a few of those or get those words in as long as it makes sense, right? So if your potato soup recipe is like a regular potato soup that's creamy and the at the bottom related search says baked potato soup, obviously those two things don't work together, so don't include it. But that's one of the ways that you can take a look. So you still want to do your traditional keyword research, whichever way you do it. Identify your topic, but then take a look at the search result for your primary, secondary keyword, and take a look at the bottom, and people also search. And that kind of gives you an idea of how Gemini is going to do that fan out technique where somebody asks, give me ingredients for potato soup, and it's going to perform queries like potato soup ingredients, best potato soup ingredients, how to make potato soup recipe. It performs all those queries, learns from that, synthesizes an answer for you.
All right. Okay, so this question is for everybody. So be nice and take turns. Just kidding. Okay. If you could each share one big takeaway, what is something bloggers should focus on to have a successful Q4 in this AI era? Casey, do you want to start?
I'm going to pick this one specifically because I know Andrew does not like it. We're going to front load value in your posts. I don't want you to bury the answer. I really want you to lean in to optimizing at the top of your post. So this is a review here. We don't want to bury the answer. In the AI mode and overviews, they're really looking to get into the meat of the post in the first 300 words. We want to have concise, structured, and clear information. We want to give readers and AI a direct what, why, how answer within the first scroll of the page. And we've seen incredible success on this. David Leit's on the call. There's many others on the call as well who've had audits over the last 4 months that are up a lot. And I would like to think that this is one of the reasons that they've been able to do that. They've been able to stand out. I've provided some examples that you can look at. This has led to a launch of what are called AI buttons, which again, Andrew hates, which is totally fine. And that Feast is actually, if you're on Feast, I'm not surprised at all that Skylar rolled this out. It's a very user-first thing to go. You have the ability to add buttons, which make it easier for users to summarize your content and provide a way for you to feed LLMs mentions on you. If you take a look at any of these examples I've listed, all of them have variations of that, and they've customized it to their needs. David Leitz specifically, well ahead of the curve with bloggers who's embracing AI with incredible results. He's gone in and spent a ton of time with custom prompts that allow people to make sure that when they use AI, they don't make any mistakes with his recipes, which I think is incredible. And there are other options here visually that allow you to provide a way for you to stand out from the crowd. And that's our goal. Make it easier. Toddlers, many of you have said repeatedly, some of you have t-shirts. Casey says optimize for toddlers and drunk adults.
Yep.
New t-shirt coming out. It will be launched at Tastemaker Conference 2026. We optimize for toddlers, drunk adults, and LLMs. And that t-shirt is coming. And that's really what I would like to push today as my one main takeaway.
Hey, can I just clarify something? It's the summarize this post with AI button that I don't like. Like
And
David's
you can
doing
customize that, and that's totally fine.
right.
And that's
So,
why I've
and
given
this
you
isn't
these
just
results here.
This isn't just a food blog thing. Like Firefox now, apparently on iOS, you can shake your phone and it's going to summarize whatever you're reading on AI. And I'm afraid this is going to make us all stupider.
What's
And
a
so,
Firefox?
No, I think there is actual studies that support what Andrew is saying.
So
there are studies already.
I'm taking a high level. Like, I feel like if you need to summarize something
How many people have seen Idiocracy?
Exactly.
Hey.
So Casey, to your point, if you're putting the TLDR at the top, you shouldn't need a summarize button, right? And
you can see here, and I provided examples with and without the button, so you can determine if that's what you want to do. If you use the too long don't read summary, which I think is fantastic. I know that there's a couple different ways to approach it. I think it's great. People are we have very small attention spans. I heard a study the other day that it's 15 seconds now. It was 30 or 45 seconds. Now it's 15. Unless I'm talking to my wife, it's 5. So I got to really sell what I want in that first 5 seconds.
Again, it's a domain authority issue, Casey.
It is. That's it. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to hire
maybe you have a content shift that happens.
But I think if you put a TLDR at the top of your post, you're controlling what's written there. You're doing it in
absolutely.
Your voice.
You 100% control it. I'm all for that.
Yeah. We cover a bunch of this in our coaching for food bloggers. We talk about structuring content, and like I'm 100% with Casey on this. And Casey's been saying this, I think, since episode 2 with us. You want to sell the visitor on your content, and that should happen at the top. They've clicked to your site from search results, so they've looked at your thumbnail. They've looked at your title, they looked at your description, maybe there's some star ratings, and they've clicked through. They read that and they clicked on it for a reason. So now they've landed on your post, on your page, and it loaded for them in mobile, very limited real estate. What do you need to do? You need to literally sell your content. It turns almost into like an e-commerce page, right? So when you land on the e-commerce page, what do you typically see? You see a quick description of what this product is, right? And you want to take that same approach. One of the things that we teach in coaching is to look at how Google is shaping the meta descriptions on that search result page. Because sometimes Google will start replacing your meta description that you wrote with something else, another snippet from your content.
Yeah, not even sometimes. Literally, it's the majority now.
Well, if you write it properly to meet that criteria, it stays. And we do this all the time. But you can take a look, and that's going to kind of inform you into what you should be putting out there as the first thing for the visitor. So if you look at content, if you look at recipe posts, and you look at what's being rewritten, and you actually take a look at the meta description that was submitted to Google versus what's on the actual search result page, you're going to notice that for some recipes, especially broader recipes, right, it's going to list ingredients or process in the meta description. And that's to tell the user, to warn the user on what they potentially are getting themselves into. Your opening paragraph should mimic that. There should be continuity. So when I click over to your page, your first paragraph should be a TLDR, but also cover the important parts, right? So this is a potato soup. They make this potato soup comes together with the following ingredients and only takes 30 minutes in one pot with my secret sauce, whatever it is. Boom, that's it. And then the second paragraph is you want to establish some kind of EAT, right? So like, why should they listen to you?
And just to interject here, because Arson's on a roll here. We're finding that moving elements down the page helps. Like, I would never have you start a post these days with the table of contents or the advanced jump links. I am recommending moving those down below the first H2 on the page, which is usually that recipe summary. Now I want them to see that recipe summary right below that featured image, and then and only then I might have the table of contents below that, so that we can have them navigate further. But I want to sell them immediately in that first one third of the page.
Bring up a little bit of that third-party validation. You have positive reviews, comments from people who made this recipe. Bring that up there. You've made changes to this recipe. Let's say you published this recipe in 2004, right? And you've made changes, and you don't have to have a log of all changes. You can say, hey, I recently updated this to improve. All of that contributes to that user retention. And by the way, that's a signal. If you're keeping the user on the page, you are most likely not going to lose those positions.
Right. And we've talked about this in other episodes.
We did a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Casey, I know you've already touched on this a little bit, but anything else? Where do you see AI heading in relation to blogging and SEO, and what should bloggers be preparing for now?
Well, I think I've already shared this 3 times. I'm going to share it 4 times just in case.
Okay.
So I think my most recent article, which literally covers this exact question, is well worth for everyone to read. I think it's literally one of the best things I've ever written, if I do say so myself. It was very popular. And I think it's worth a look. Our goal is to really understand that we do not have to be afraid of AI. Our goal is to understand that visibility is changing. We are not optimizing to rank anymore. We're basically optimizing for reuse and citation. And I think it's a hard shift for bloggers to make, but that's what we want to do. I basically said in the article that embracing AI means making sure your brand shows up in the places your readers are already turning to for help. And that brand mentions are the new links, and that the most successful creators must seed LLMs with these mentions going forward. That is not revolutionary. We've been saying that in multiple facets and modals for months, and I really believe that. And I think that the problem is that bloggers are having trouble shifting their mindset from resistance to resilience. And that's the secret going forward. If the bloggers who can use AI as a tool, the sky is the limit. Many bloggers, again, they're on this call, have used AI to incredible success, whether it's propelling their email list to stratospheric heights, or to increase time on site, or to provide a novel approach to presenting the information that users need in a concise and helpful way. There's no reason that those will not take you to new levels, and that's what I believe. I also believe that the Chiefs will win this week, even though they lost the first game. So,
Andrew?
I wanted to be just a little contrarian, just to trip everybody up. Raptive is still recommending blocking AI crawlers. And I was just looking at a post from, I think, June or July. And they're saying that they're not seeing any drops in traffic. Now, this is a strategic play more than anything, I think, in terms of getting content creators to be compensated for their content. So Raptive's taking a different approach than Casey's recommending. I'm not saying...
Yeah, and that's totally fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. It just, they won't release the numbers. They don't release their numbers. They can't say they've seen no drops in traffic and then understand that there's literally 12 bloggers on this very call who are with Raptive who have not blocked AI and are up like 20% over the year. Are they up 20% over the year because they didn't block AI, or because they did these 20 other things that the other Raptive bloggers aren't doing? No idea. Okay. But there is a correlation.
What was your quote again? Resilience versus, what was the second t-shirt idea is all I'm saying, Casey.
Hey, yes, if you don't remember, forget it. It's clearly not memorable enough. So thank you so much. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that off.
I have ADD. Listen, it's already. I'm going to give us 5 more minutes to answer the last 2 questions, but then let's get to some questions after this. Andrew, really quickly, how far in advance should bloggers be updating or publishing holiday content, and how can they get personal connection back into their posts?
Now.
So Google crawls. What did you just say?
Now.
Now, update them now. No, Google crawls and indexes a lot faster than it used to, right? So, we used to say 2 to 4 weeks, and I think, it could be hours or days. So you can say up to 2 weeks out. Does that sound fair? Starting early November for your Thanksgiving content makes sense. Obviously, you need to plan your work schedule, and I think that can impact it. If it's going to take you time to update 12 recipes, then plan accordingly. What was the second part? How can you weave personal connection back into those posts?
Yes.
Be uniquely human. I don't know. I feel like it's an odd two.
Offer candy. Offer candy.
Offer candy.
Offer candy.
Videos.
Video tutorials involving candy.
Unique perspective. That's
unique
what it is. Yeah, unique perspective. Look, at the end of the day, literally, this is not rocket science. Go and actually read the posts. Read the recipes, read the travel posts, the ones that are ranking at the top. You're going to notice that there's each section provides, or majority of the sections there provide some kind of a unique perspective. There's something there that is making it completely different from somebody else. And that's that perspective. It could be a variation, an approach, using some kind of a spice, a process, squeezing moisture out of something. It's all unique perspective. And that's how you can be human without diluting away from the topic and without losing that click to a long personal story that they're not interested in reading, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. To Casey and Arsen, do you think, well, Andrew too, if you'd like, but do you think traffic levels will ever return to where they were in 2023 and before, or should we accept a new normal with Google, Pinterest, AI, and algorithm shifts?
Casey?
Well, first of all, there are plenty, and again, we kind of talked this a little bit, and I know Andrew and I had a little bit of a discussion previously. There are a lot of bloggers killing it. Some of them are on this call, and you know what? They're quiet because they don't like to advertise their success, and I get it. But there are plenty of bloggers, many, many, many bloggers who are up considerably over the last year. So anyone who says that it's doom and gloom, I really want you to strongly evaluate where you're getting your advice and what you're doing. Because there are a lot of success stories out there, and I'm seeing them every day. Not only for people who are sending me audit requests, but I look at their site, I'm like, you don't need an audit. You're doing fantastic. Here's a couple minor points that I'm going to give you for free, but you're good to go. But we also have to understand that no, the paradigm that we had in 2023 is gone. Those results are not coming back. We have AI overviews and AI mode are now foundational to how Google search works. Google isn't rolling back. They are doubling down on them. We're going to see Pinterest, TikTok, and Instagram aggressively position themselves as search engine in the coming months and years. They're already doing that. They want to keep users on their platform. Everyone wants to be their own walled garden. We're going to have Google algorithm updates that are going to increase. They are not going to slow down. You're going to see them deprioritize long-form content in favor of direct answers, unique depth, and brand authority. And you're going to see that this rising tide of free Google traffic that many people rode in the 2010s and during COVID, that's gone. That's not going to come back. You have to understand that focusing on AI overview inclusion has to be a part of your regular strategy. Arsen and I both agree that GEO is not a thing. It's just better SEO. The things that and Andrew mentioned it earlier, a lot of the recommendations that we gave you today are just sound things we've been recommending with just updated language for years. We have to focus on optimizing. We want to be cited and show that we're unique and well structured. We want to optimize brand polls and not a search push. We want to email lists and make sure that our biggest fans are what they are, fans, making sure that they're pushing us to be better, going out and building our own communities as much as we can. None of that has changed. Our goal is to just be really, really good at what we want. And you have to ask yourself, does the world need another banana cream pie? If you're a new blogger starting out, probably not. Aww. But maybe there's another opportunity there. They certainly don't need any more potato soups.
What?
Okay. So if you don't remember anything, remember that.
Those are fighting words.
On that note,
I agree with Casey. I think there are a lot of bloggers who are winning. There are also a lot of bloggers who come back to us and say, "Hey, traffic is down, but earnings is plateaued or sometimes even up." Right. And there's something to take out of that, because even on our enterprise side, where we work with larger e-commerce brands, we're noticing this too. Conversions don't seem to have been affected by a decline in traffic that we're losing to AI overviews. And that's just because we are getting a more qualified click now. The click is educated. And I think somebody was talking about that in the comments earlier. Like, hey, are we seeing probably the opposite effect, but are we seeing a shorter dwell time because people have consumed a chunk of the content that we're presenting to them through the AIO before they click over it? Potentially, but it should be the other way around. They're supposed to dwell more because now they've been committed to you. They've made a conscious decision after reading the AIO to click over and read more from you, right? I think at one point, because it's a more qualified click, and we potentially are seeing this now. I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive into it. but clicks are worth more in terms of the user that's coming to you, because the user is much more educated. I don't know how that's going to translate into RPMs, eCPMs, or what have you. There is a lot to be said. And again, we've been saying this since the first episode, omnipresence, right? Look at brands. You have to start treating yourself as a brand, not so much as I'm a blog, as a brand. And look how brands function. Brands are present everywhere where their audiences are. And you need to do the same thing. Don't sleep on your email. Become more active with your email.
I'll just interject. I just more really quickly here. That email thing. I had an audit yesterday with a client who is doing really well, 150,000 sessions a month, growing. They've been a blogger for a long time, but they could do better. I asked her how many people were on her email list. Now remember that she's been blogging since 2018. So I want to have any guesses here. How many people do you think were on her email list since she's been blogging since 2018? Andrew, come on, give me a guess.
500.
Arson.
5,000.
Okay, come on, Melissa. What do you think?
Oof, I was going to go higher than arson. 6.
750.
Oh.
She had never decided that email was worthy of her efforts.
A win is a win.
She has a good social following, but she never invested in email. All she has to do is reprioritize some of her resources towards email, and we could take her from 750 to 75,000, and she will literally increase her traffic an extra mortgage payment every month. I mean, that is the amount. You can make a lot of money from email just on return traffic. You have to invest in it. Just look into Print Pass, look in at Gated Print for Raptive, look into taking an email course, having a welcome sequence. I mean, come on. You can do this. There's no reason that newer bloggers that have started within a year and a half have email lists of 5 to 15,000 already, and a blogger that's been doing this for 15 years has 750. We can't have that happen.
Right.
Don't sleep on video. A lot of search results right now. I was taking a look at one of my all-time favorites, braised chicken recipe, and that search result has changed drastically in the last few months. And now we're seeing a lot of TikTok videos. We're seeing Facebook videos. We're seeing. Don't sleep on that. That's all traffic. That's all traffic. And if they're not landing on your page right away, there will at one point, because they're going to be exposed to your brand. They're going to be brand aware. So even if they're not landing on your page and you're not making money from that initial click, you're building a brand. You're building an audience that's going to be committed to you. And that's how you win. Look at all the larger publishers who are winning. They're all building a brand.
Okay. Do we have time for questions? We've got 5 minutes. Okay. Let's take a quick scroll. Here we go. Right off bat. I think we kind of answered this. If you already grouped blocks of text on my post, do I still need to do the Mediavine optimized ads? Casey, didn't you?
We did answer that. Yeah, it doesn't hurt you to try it out. Absolutely.
Cool. Let's go on to the next. Let's see. David. Have you guys seen sites with higher page views and sessions but lower time on page? I think it's because people are seeing things in overviews or AI and click to make sure of the sources.
It could be that. It could be that people are clicking with intent of seeing one thing but are not seeing it and bouncing back. Also, you kind of want to look at it from a how does this compare to other pages on your site, and then the sources where they're coming from. You can't just kind of like top level look at it. There's different reasons. They should be, theoretically, they're supposed to be spending a little bit more time on your site if they're coming from an AIO.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or maybe they're reading TLDR and bouncing because they're not interested. Like it takes less time to figure out what the posts are about.
Maybe.
Question.
Bounce back question. or the pogo sticking, as it's called, can be a ton of reasons. It could be the fact that the page slightly loaded longer than it should. It could be that there was an ad that popped in disrupting the user experience at the top. It could be a plethora of reasons. I always tell, and David, you have the ability to do this. Maybe you should film a couple of those sessions with Hotjar. Install Hotjar, film. You can film 120 different sessions right away and see if there's any clear notes from those sessions.
Awesome. Okay. Carol asks, how do we let AI crawl out site? and this had a thumbs up. So
Don't block him.
Yeah, just / your site / robots.txt. Take a look. Make sure that there's nothing in there that would cause a site to be blocked.
Yeah, if you're with Raptive, they will block AI in your robots.txt by default unless you already have a robots.txt file on your server. So do check to make sure it's not blocked, because you might be blocking.
If you are not sure if your robots are being blocked, I've got a tool here so you can test it for free.
right on.
Use this tool right here to ensure you are open to AI bots visiting you and bringing you candy.
It's always circling back to candy. It's very creepy.
It is Halloween. It's coming up.
Is it Halloween already?
It's coming up.
No, it's not even fall yet. We still have a few weeks.
It is that time of year
just want candy corn.
To break out the candy corn whiskey. I apologize. I did not bring it out with me today. I stuck with the rum and Coke, but I did have some candy corn whiskey earlier this week. It was good.
How do you even make that? What is that?
Oh, I don't know, but it's awesome. It tastes just like candy corn.
That's cool. Okay. Did you answer this, Casey, when you were talking earlier about the LMS?
Yeah, there's plenty of Diane. Yeah, I think Diane has that information. There's our tutorials and everything.
Okay.
And I think that David did have a question that I don't think that we did a chance to reach to. It was David. Feel free to put that in the comment again, because I know that I want Andrew and Arsena to think about that. He's talking about how he's noticed a trend recently about Google's indexing his Pinterest images. Google has been picking up his Pinterest images for thumbnail purposes for no apparent reason, and he's not sure where that's coming from, whether he's hiding them or if it's a hubbub issue or something like that. So I was curious, you guys might want to just make a mental note of that and see if you notice it happening and see what we can see.
Okay.
Huh. I'll ask JJ about it if we've had anybody email in. But if that's happening and you think it's a hubbub thing, shoot us an email and we can take a look. Because maybe it's picking up hidden Pinterest images.
Yeah, hubbub Pinterest hidden images, showing all the hubbub Pinterest hidden images.
That's dumb of Google.
It is. Now,
You're welcome.
so, and it's probably like showing them as a slide. Like you can see like a little slide, like 4 or 5 in a row at the top. I've seen that. That is strange.
Well, hey, maybe that's a cool thing. Maybe it's giving you lots of coverage and SERPs.
Yeah, maybe that's
David, I'll take a look.
All right. I think we're running out of time here, so we're going to have some closing remarks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just a reminder, everybody, Top Hat Rank has coaching. Okay. I'm going to drop the link to our site. I want you to just peruse it. If you're interested.
We're very happy with this program. We have a lot
very
of
happy.
Yeah. We like what's happening here.
All right. But yeah, check us out. The waitlist is definitely open. We're looking into starting another group in the next month or so. So like I said, take a look. And Casey, I know you are booking audits for late October, but is there anything else that you want to share?
Correct. I am booking audits for late October. I am happy to work with anyone on this call. Well, most of you. Okay. There's some of you I have some questions about, and especially your dislike for Halloween or candy corn whiskey in September. But that's fine. I overlook it. I would like to bring your attention to State of Search, which is our conference. I'm on the board of State of Search. It is one of the oldest digital marketing conferences in the entire United States. It is our 24th year this year. It is in Grapevine, Texas. It's fantastic. We get food bloggers from all over the United States come every year, and they drink and close down the bar at the Hotel Vin across the street with me every year. I would love to add you to that group, and there's information here. You can use the term Casey for 40% off your ticket, and it's great. It's 2 days on a Monday and Tuesday, all Western themed, all the barbecue and watered down drinks you can drink. It's gonna be fantastic.
Awesome.
I'm Casey.
Yeah, exactly. He's splitting the bill. Andrew, we were talking earlier about Food Wellness Equity Collective's Creator Retreat. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so NerdPress is actually going to a few conferences. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear you.
So I'm actually excited about a bunch of conferences coming up. We've got the Creator Retreat from Food and Wellness Equity Collective. That's mid-October in New Orleans. So NerdPress is sponsoring that. We're going to be there presenting. That's a really cool program. If you're not familiar with the Food and Wellness Equity Collective, I recommend you check it out. And we've got a discount code for 15% off if you just use the code NerdPress. We've also got, we're going to be at the TBEX Summit North America. So if we've got any travel bloggers on the call, I hope you can come to Wichita, join us in Kansas. We're going to be there the first week of October. And also we're going to be at MediaVineCon, MVCon, the first week of November in Boston. So lots of travel coming up in our next month and a half.
Awesome. And that discount code is good until September 30th, right?
That sounds right.
Okay,
Sure.
good. Just checking. I got your back. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us. We covered a lot, so we'll have that recap ready for you guys next week. But again, you can always watch the replay immediately after this on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I feel like everybody on this call is subscribing to our newsletter. And I just wanted to tell everybody thank you, because we've had a lot of engagement on that. And
We're really happy with this newsletter too.
Yeah. So, just a shout out to everybody. And yeah, that's it from us. Thank you again. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Be safe out there.
Bye.